Happy Monday, Embarcadero community. This is David I, and let's take a look at what's news, what's happening in the community. And as always, we'll look at some of the upcoming events, blog posts, your questions, and I want to show you a little more about our new Community 3.0. Here we are at the home page of the Embarcadero community. In this area, we have at the top, we have featured articles to get latest highlights, upcoming events, questions and answers that are showing up, latest news down in this lower left-hand section, information about new users and an activity stream, and some links down at the bottom as well. In many cases, you can click on the heading, so notice the cursor change. Upcoming events will take us to the events page, questions and answers, and then we can click on news and so on. When you're registered or you log in using your existing developer network account, you can log in using your existing developer network account, or you can register and create an account. It's the same login if you already have an account, your user ID or your email address and password. And here I am logged in as David I. We can click on David I and go to the profile page. You can update your profile, edit information, contact information, and so on. You can also set status just as you would in other social networks. Either make those public comments or private comments. You can upload photos, videos. If you're event authorized, you can create events. If you want to get permissions to do certain things in the community site, just send me an email at davidi@embarcadero.com. Notice here that I've uploaded an image of what it looks like here in the studio that I took last week. So here's our mixer and some compressors and microphones, and we've got sound absorption panels on the walls and a couple screens. And I took this last week at 4:00 in the afternoon. So you can go in and upload your photos. You can also look at other photos. Here's photos of other members of the community, smiling faces, groups of people, and so on. Photos. We love to see pictures of developers that are doing things. And again, I could type in here my status. I am recording the weekly community webcast in the studio in Scotts Valley, and I'll share that with everyone. And it adds it to the viewing all the different comments and messages, status updates people, or maybe it's me and friends of mine. You can go and find someone else and you can click to join, ask them to become their friend. What's happening in the news last week and upcoming news. I want to tell you about something cool that's happening next week, February 9th through 13th. Jim McKeith and I and a global community of volunteers and participants are going to be involved in what we're calling Delphi Week 2015. We're doing live events every day next week, Monday through Friday, and you can register for either or both of the sessions. We'll have live sessions from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time, where we'll have interviews and the fun side of Delphi demos and other demos, conversations, taking a look at what developers are doing. If you join us during that time and you want to have a conversation live online, just raise your hand once you've registered, and we'll ask you things that you're doing with Delphi. So we're looking for success stories, pictures. Post your pictures on Instagram or on Twitter or in the community site. Use the hashtag #DelphiWeek so that we can track and share the enthusiasm. Looking for your favorite features of Delphi. Maybe it's a favorite component or set of components. So just anything and everything that we'll be covering. I'll be doing this community webcast live on Monday morning and then record it for playback. So that'll be part of the 8 to 10 Monday morning. We're going to have some code battles where developers are going to write applications live and everybody can watch what's going on. We're going to take surveys during the week. We've asked some of our community members and our partners and our employees to put short little videos together showing the offices and the engineers and so on. So if you want to take part, just again, contact us or get involved. Just register for the 2 times at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. Again, the links are right here. If I go and bring those pages up, it just brings up a registration form. That's the morning session and the afternoon session. We put out a second data modeling news flash for January 2015. Issue 2 that talks about webinars that are coming up, white paper, this one, IDC Analyst Connection, how to map complex data landscapes. And so you can look at that. There's some on-demand webinars and other white papers, how to make the most of your metadata. There's demonstrations happening each week on ER Studio and our products. So take a look at those in the events calendar. The events calendar, you get to that either by going to the events all page, or if you're on the home page, click on the individual events or on the heading upcoming events. And that'll bring you to the events page where we have a linear list of all the upcoming events. So every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have developer events, the developer skill sprints on Tuesday that cover Rad Studio XE7. On Thursday, we have developer skill sprints for FireDAC. This week, it's cached updates in auto increment fields. That's happening this Thursday. And every Friday, we have a technology partner spotlight webinar that takes place. This week, it's TMS software. Last week, it was DevExpress. And here's a note about Delphi Week, and also then best practices demos for ER Studio, some events for DB Artisan customers if you're a database administrator, and more events happening all the time. Power Studio demo. These are ongoing webinar demos that take place each week on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So you can sign up for those, and you just click the view detail, and it'll take you to more information about a specific online event. And it'll take you to an article in the community site about a specific online event, and then you can click on the Register Now link. We also have registration pages, so if you search on Google or wherever, you'll see registration and schedule for, in this case, the developer skill sprints for Rad Studio XE7. There's several different topics being covered across the range of Delphi and C++ Builder in Rad Studio XE7. Tomorrow, February 3rd, is Parallel Programming Library with Jim McKeith. So that's it. The skill sprints are always at 6 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then we give you some of the equivalent times in different cities around the world. And there's a full schedule here. There's some other events in March. Just bookmark this registration page or register for the series. And then you'll get reminders each Tuesday that there's an upcoming skill sprint of whatever topic it might be at that time. So here you can choose one or more of the events that happen on a weekly basis. Also on the landing page for developer skill sprints, we have the schedule again for both the Rad Studio and the FireDAC skill sprints with the topics to be covered. And on the right-hand side, in reverse order by date, with the most recent skill sprints showing up, we have links to the YouTube videos for all of the skill sprints. You can always bookmark the playlist. So for the developer skill sprints, you've got a playlist to get the most recent ones always appear at the top. So last week on Tuesday, customizing the look and feel with UI elements with Bitmap Style Designer and TrueType fonts with Brian Alexakis. He used Font Awesome to show you how cool you can use fonts, TrueType fonts in your user interface, and take the Unicode character for a font and have it appear in the UI element of your VCL or FireMonkey applications. And then Damien Bootsma, who's our SC, one of our SCs out of Australia, he did the session for FireDAC on Thursday on tracing and monitoring your SQL operations. So they always show up in the YouTube playlist first when we upload them, and then eventually the landing page gets updated and you see the new ones. This was from a week ago. That page gets updated weekly. So bookmark the playlist and subscribe to it, and you'll see all of the skill sprints going back to last May when we started all of this. And then for FireDAC, there's a separate registration page. You can register for the FireDAC series on Thursday at 6 a.m., 11 a.m., and 5 p.m. And there's a playlist for the FireDAC skill sprints, started with Pavel Glavatsky. Let me go and put them in reverse order. That way, the most recent skill sprint shows up at the top. So we started with Introduction to FireDAC with Pavel, and then we did Tracing and Monitoring with Damien. Again, on Friday, we have Technology Partner Spotlight every Friday at 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific time. We don't have a 5 p.m. That'd be Saturday in Asia Pacific. And then there's links to the YouTube videos down here inside the schedule, and there's some more partners to be announced in the February timeframe. I'm just waiting for confirmations. We'll get those updated. There's also a playlist on the Embarcadero Technologies YouTube channel. Embarcadero TechNet is the string, and you'll see the Raise software and DevExpress controls. Also in the community site, we have blogs. These are some of the featured bloggers: Brian, JT, Serena, Pavel, and so on. If you want to see all the bloggers, you can click on the View All and then choose the bloggers that you want to follow. When you're on the blog page, for example, you'll see the blogs from different parts of the database and developer world, including different languages, spoken languages as well. So integrating data from multiple sources. That shows up there. Here's Data Direct in Russian, archiving database schema, in UK Finance Institute, a case study, and information about other pieces and parts that take place in the blogs. So on the blogs, one of the things I want to highlight is Serena's coverage of iOS bitmap style designer template for iPhone 6 Plus. This was a question that actually came up in one of the skill sprints of last week, where one of the attendees asked, well, what about iOS 8 style, which has a 1x, 2x, and 3s resolution support? And so we have a premium style pack for XE7 for the higher resolution standard or default resolution that's available for iOS 8 and the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. So you can download that style pack from Code Central using the link here. And the Bitmap Style Designer 1x, 2x. So you'll see information about how to download the style files and put them into your styles subfolders in your wherever your install is or where you keep your own styles. Serena also blogged about a recent release or update of iOS 8 that Apple put out, iOS 8.1.3. Apple made a change, and there's notes here in this blog post by Serena about adding an additional key, application-identifier, and the string, which is whatever your organizational unit might be. You can get that by logging into your developer portal on the Apple Developer Network. And the key or the string that shows up in the organizational unit, you want to take that string and you want to put that in place of where she's talking about organizational unit, and then put a $, module name in parentheses, and then close the XML string. And then when you deploy your application, it'll work in 8.1.3. So we're tracking all of that as we see the development beta tests that we're doing with Apple. And then when they tell us that there's some new capability in a subsequent release of iOS 8 or any version of OS 10 or iOS, will respond very quickly, either with information about what you need to do or workarounds and or hotfixes that might come up. Again, the Embarcadero community has all of that information and the blogs, so stay tuned to all of that. Another area that you might want to check out in the community site is the forums. These are the web forums. They're different than our older news group forums, and they're organized a little different as well, organized in a general category, mostly here for installation issues that people might have. Then for application development, we break things down into user interface, data, enterprise features, cloud features, tools, meaning the IDE tool chains and so on, and just general programming information. And members of our team, as well as the community members, are helping out with the conversations in the forums. And also same thing for the data modeling and architecture, database administration, and SQL development and tuning sections. And then finally, in the answers area, this is where you can pose questions and we'll answer them, and community members will answer them. So DataSnap server doesn't return the correct exception message on authentication error. So if we go and take a look at it, by clicking on the question, we'll see the answer here. Marco has posted. In this case, he's asking the developer for a little bit more information that he needs to track down the specific issue. There's other questions that showed up and we've answered them. You see replies. You can also vote for the best answer. So let's go into this other one here. He's using shell execute to bring up a virtual keyboard. And Jim is just answering, use create process. Instead, you'll be able to get the handle back of the process information and then do the terminate process. And then looks like Ray is asking for some additional sample code. And once you're logged in, you can use the voting to vote for an answer or vote that it's a really good question. And we use all of that information to find out who's putting up cool stuff, who's doing answers, and so on. You also get points based on answering questions, uploading photos, and other things, which gives you a community ranking and a number of points that are collected. So lots of things going on in the new Community 3.0 site, lots of functionality to use. Again, update your profile, upload pictures. Don't forget about Delphi Week next week, all week long. It's part of the celebration of 20 years of continuous innovation in the Delphi product and Object Pascal language and VCL and FireMonkey. 20 years of innovation, and we're going to go through a bunch of that and look at some of the great capabilities in Delphi. Join us each day, Monday through Friday of next week at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And that's just a quick look at what's happening in the Embarcadero community, and also a look forward to the events that are taking place. So we'll see you again next Monday. Again, next Monday we'll be live with the community webcast. We'll capture it and upload it as well. So have a great week. Enjoy all the development that you're doing. Tell us about what you're building and what you're doing with Delphi during Delphi Week. Send us emails. Again, I'm David I at Embarcadero.com, and Jim McKeith is jim.mckeith at Embarcadero.com. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.